So now we're going to take this penny and we're going to make it the same size as that. Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be doing the 7.3 Power Stroke 1 cent mod. This is something that I really didn't know I wanted to do until a few days ago. I'm waiting on some truck parts to come in, so I just couldn't stand the thought of spending my weekend just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. So I decided to go ahead and do something, did some research. My door locks do not work, so what'll happen is, well, here, I'll show you. You can hear that they're trying to work. They don't go up and down. Well, that's actually a common problem with the 7.3. It's a actuator that's in there, and there's a thermal resistor that you have to take out and replace using a penny. Alright, so first thing, you're going to want to take this pillar off right here. Remember, whenever you use a screwdriver on your plastics, just wrap it in a rag. It's just as effective and it doesn't scratch. Pops right off, put it off to the side. Same thing here. Now I have a clip that's broke here. I'm also in the process of finding a replacement for that. But it's going to pop up and then slide right back. Easy. Take these clips and unplug them. Put that off to the side. Now you're going to see that you got a bolt right here. I'll go ahead and bring you in here to show you. So you see that little bolt right there. That is going to have to come off along with one underneath of the reflector. Maybe a 7mm. And you notice none of this stuff is very tight. When you put it back together, do the same thing. It doesn't need to be rock solid in there. You're just going to end up cracking the plastic and making more of a headache for yourself in the long run. Just simply lift up. You have one plug you're going to have to unplug. Now you only have to pull this plastic halfway back, so what I'm going to do is just take this and fold it over. Now you see this 10mm bolt right here? This holds the window track. Side note, make sure your windows are up. Don't make that mistake. Alright, so I'm just using a T27 tip. Pulling these 3 screws out. Alright, there's 2 little clips holding this lock in place. You can see them right here. It's easy, you just simply flip it up. Now there's an 11mm nut right there. Just take that off. This one's a bit of a tight fit, be careful when you're pulling it off. At this point you can see that the door handle is fairly loose. There's just 2 more clips we got to take off. That little green clip that's down inside of there. And then this push clip right here, which is going to be a push and a pull. Just like that, your outer door handle will come right off. Set it off to the side. Now we're going to pull the whole entire actuator housing loose. Now you have your actuator and your housing. Just pull these couple little clips off. There's a very small clip in here that you have to push up on with a screwdriver, and this will slide back. Alright, just like that, we got a little actuator housing. Not very impressive, really. Pretty simple. But now we get to do the fun stuff. We get to drill it out, take it apart, get down and dirty with it. Alright, so I kind of skipped ahead a little bit. I went ahead on some other doors, kind of lost track and didn't video for a while. But this is what the actuator itself looks like. I'll take you inside and I'll show you the whole process of how to break it down. That way you guys can do this at home by yourself. By the way, Tyler showed up and he's been a big help. Thank you so much for being here. Alright, so I've been getting these little metal rivets out first. I saw a lot of guys drill them out and do a bunch of funky stuff like that, but I'm not going to reuse that. So I'm just taking the drill press and shaving down the edges and then pulling the rivet right out. Okay, then just take your pliers, grab the little rivet, pulls right out. Okay, so for the plastic rivets, it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt, but I am using a 9/32 and just basically drilling off the top of the mushroom heads. Okay, so drill them out just like that. Okay, then just use a screwdriver to pop your case off. Just work around it a little bit. You'll feel it start to pop up. You want to keep as many of the little shavings out as possible. And when you pull it off, this is what you have inside. So go ahead and pull all your gears out. And your motor. This is what we're really after right here. Okay, so there's two little tabs that are on the motor, right there and right there. And you have to separate those in order to get the top off, which is what we need to do. I used this little jeweler's screwdriver, flathead, and I broke the tip of it off, but that made it a little bit stronger, and now it fits perfect, and it pries it right up. You just kind of got to play with it. Okay, then once your tabs are popped up, just pull the end of your motor off. That's what it looks like inside. Use your pick to help you get out the little resistor. There it is. Almost looks like a little micro SD card. That's what I'm looking for. So now we're going to take this penny and we're going to make it the same size as that. So I'm just using my vice grips and I'm going to try to grab it to where I can get two sides done at once. Just like that. Now go to Sandtown. So after your first bit of sanding, that's what it'll look like. Make sure it's cooled, pull it off. Grab it from the other side. Make sure everything's lined up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to get as close as you can. Now we'll take our new resistor, clean up a little bit more. So I've just been using some 120 cent grit paper. Just getting the top, the bottom off, making sure the edges are semi square. So you see how it starts to get shiny like that? Okay, now take your little motor cap and your new resistor, put it right in the end, push it down. The only thing I would say is you want to make sure that it's not sticking out above this plastic because that could interfere with the seat on the motor, and that would be an issue. Now, what we figured out is when you replace the motor back into the actuator assembly, it's going to be numbers down. You see how this has a tab right here? This filled out part is going to go towards the tab. You don't want to mess that up because your window will lock when you want it to unlock and unlock when you want it to lock. Now there's two little brushes inside of there and you got to be careful when you put this back in. Those brushes have to line up. Just kind of come in from an angle, put those brushes in, and it'll go right down on top. It's easy. Okay, here again, I'm sure somebody's found a better way to do this, but this is what we figured out works. So I'm just lightly, emphasis on light, gripping this motor. You don't want to bend this case. It's meant to work a certain way. Motors are tricky. Anyways, but I have to get these tabs back down in order to keep this in place or else it's just going to move around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hammer, my little screwdriver, and I'm going to lightly tap these tabs back over. Just like that. Pull your motor out. Make sure that your case is tight. If that's not tight, it won't make proper contact and it won't work. And all this is for nothing. Okay, so the next step is to drill out the holes in our case, which is why we pulled all the rest of these gears out. So I'm going to take this actuator assembly and I'm going to reassemble it with nothing inside of it. Okay, I'm going to take my drill bit, with a 1/16 inch drill bit, and I'm going to very carefully drill as close to the center of these holes as I can. You don't want to get this way off because if you start messing up components, it's not going to work. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. There is a little bit of wiggle room. It doesn't have to be perfection, but this does help. Okay, now after you drilled your holes, you want to take the case back apart and make sure you get as much of the little bits of shavings out as you can, because they could interfere with the gears, make it not work properly. Beware of this little rubber silicone piece. It will come out. Okay, now once you're confident that you've gotten out as much as you can, just double check your holes and make sure that they're going to have clearance and everything. If you think that there's a hole that's really going to interfere with something, just don't put a zip tie there. And then go ahead and reassemble it. Do a double check to make sure there's no pieces left. And then we're just going to take zip ties and run it through all of these. Side note, make sure your zip tie on this piece goes over the top, or else it's not going to fit properly when you put it back on the vehicle. Alright, when you're finished, it should look something like this. I originally bought screws for this, and I'd seen some other people that had done that, and it did not work at all. I know this seems kind of hokey, but it's actually working, and it's going to be inside my door. I'm never going to see it. Hopefully never again. So I really don't care. So make sure you check it before you put everything back together. So you see right there? That's all it's going to do. Alright, we're back here on the next day, and now we're going to be doing this driven diesel Overboost annihilator kit. I'll just give you a little bit of an overview here. One thing I do like about driven diesel, I've used quite a few of their products now, and they always send really detailed instructions. This is an easy kit to put on, but like with that fuel system kit, it was a little bit more complicated, and it was really helpful. So this is about as simple as it gets. You have a regulator, mechanical solution to a mechanical problem. It's going to go into the Y pipe, and then it's going to go in before the map sensor, and it's going to tell the map sensor that it's only pushing 21 pounds of boost, and I don't have to worry about overboost codes. So I'll go ahead and get in there, show you what we're working with, and we'll get it done. Alright, so all we got to do is we got to take off this line right here. It's just a simple little spring clamp, and same thing over here, and we're going to replace it with that. That's going to slide in behind this harness right there, sit right up on top. It's very easy. It shouldn't take us very long, and hopefully it will be some good preventative stuff for when we start putting more power to it. Basically, the reason I'm doing this right now is I'm just trying to mock everything up so I know how short to cut my hoses, because I don't want these big, long, giant hoses hanging out there that don't need to be there. When you have this hose out, take these clamps, you're going to need to reuse them. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down just so I can get a good measurement. Okay, that wasn't going to fit. What I had to do was effectively eliminate my boost gauge for the moment. I'm not too concerned about it. I can get that T picked up here in the next couple of days and get it replaced. But for now, this will be functioning, so that's really what matters in the big scheme of things. Okay, just like that, she's installed and ready to go. Thanks for watching this video today, guys. As always, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. I'm always looking for new ideas too, so put something down in the comments below and tell me what you want to see next, and we'll see if we can't make it happen.